This piece of property's been in our family for about, it's a little over 100 years. I haven't been able to date it exactly. My dad row cropped. He grew bell pepper, cucumbers, eggplant. We also had cows and took care of cows for other folks.
There's an old cane grinding mill kind of up the road where you come in off the property. And there's a date in the bottom of the concrete, 1918. So that cane grinder was set in 1918. We now know that we can use that, plus the deeds to document the 100 years. And so we're happy that it's been a continuous family and ag for the last 100+ years.
I'm a 7th generation Floridian and a 7th generation agriculturist. Agriculture is a way of life. It's what I was raised with. It's really all I know.
At Brite Leaf Citrus Nursery, located near Lake Panasoffkee, the Jameson family is working to safeguard the future of Florida's citrus industry. For over a century, Florida's citrus nurseries were predominantly outdoor facilities, but mounting threats from diseases like greening and canker forced Florida's citrus nursery industry to move indoors.
Because of the insect vector, because of the ability for citrus canker to move due to wind and rain events, because we had field nurseries becoming infected, that system had to be changed. We went to these fully enclosed systems to try to exclude diseases.
Today, Brite Leaf grows a wide variety of citrus trees under more than 240,000 square feet of fully enclosed, insect-proof greenhouses at its 2 facilities. The original source of Brite Leaf's budwood is the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services Division of Plant Industry. Based in Chiefland, Florida, the Chiefland Budwood Foundation propagates and distributes 100% disease-free source plant material for nurseries. Brite Leaf also works with the Florida Department of Citrus's program for expedited propagation, which is dedicated to producing more disease-resilient varieties.
One of the things that Nate and I believe in is research. And with that, we do a lot of research projects with the university in producing trial trees for projects in the field to determine HLB tolerance/resistance. The hope with those projects is that there will be something promising come out of those trials that can be a future for the Florida citrus industry. Sanitation is a really important part of a citrus nursery, and we take it very, very seriously here. Our employees put on a cover, so a shirt, or in some cases a full uniform, to go to work so that their outside clothes do not come in contact with the trees. We also decontaminate all of our tools. They go in the dishwasher every night so that they get washed and then go through a heat cycle.
It's kind of a systems approach, if you will. There's multiple layers. You have a double entrance. You have hand sanitation. You have clothing sanitation. You have foot sanitation. You have plant material sanitation and regular testing. It has worked. So for example, in our case, we have sampled every 6 months for HLB for 13 years. We've done our 27th sampling, all negative.
We use coconut fiber core as our substrate. We selected this about maybe 10, 12 years ago because of its inertness and its ability to take nutrients, supply them to the plant, but not hold exorbitant amounts of water. Citrus likes to be watered. Citrus does not like wet feet.
And it's ground up coconut shells, which is a byproduct of the palm oil industry. It's completely organic, it's completely degradable. And for my case, it's inert. It has no nutrient value at all. But because I'm a fertigation person with a drip irrigation, it's a perfect choice because it doesn't have any nutrient value.
In the process of them compressing the bales to be able to send them here, it goes through a heat process. So any weed seed is killed, any pathogens are killed. So we have a clean soil to start with so that we can keep a clean, healthy root system throughout the process.
Faced with the rising cost of labor, Brite Leaf needed to find a way to meet their growing demand without taking on additional staff. The solution they decided to follow was the Elipot system, a fully automated machine that significantly reduced the amount of labor needed. The process begins by using a Logitech machine to hydrate blocks of core. The hydrated substrate is then fed into the Elipot machine, where it is rolled and wrapped in a biodegradable paper, replacing the need for individual plastic pots. The paper and core are made into a tube, cut to length, and dropped into the growing tray. The loaded trays travel down the conveyor belt to the driller and then on to be planted with rootstocks before being conveyed into the greenhouse. The final product is then shipped to the field without a plastic pot, thereby reducing the waste stream. For Nate and Anna, seeing a greenhouse brimming with citrus trees is the realization of a dream they've shared since college.
The plan for Nate and I when we met as students in Gainesville was always to farm for ourselves.
We started in 1998 as a little greenhouse operation in the backyard.
Literally in the evenings we'd put the babies to bed,
And we'd come home at night, put the kids in bed,
put on a baby monitor.
strap the baby monitor on, go work in the greenhouse, literally behind the house.
Or we'd go out, turn on lights so we could grow the crop. The fact that our oldest son has returned home and works in our nursery as well as part of the family business is really priceless.
At times it's tough. Working with family is not always the easiest, but at the end of the day, it's nice to work with family.
They are really sophisticated as agriculture evolves, and as time goes on, we get a lot of sophistication of practices that are involved here, but they also include a lot of automation, a lot of things to get exactly down to the minute amount. To know how much water they're using in each one of these greenhouses, and to know exactly how often they do that. Every chance and opportunity, every advancement that comes out, they're looking to improve their operation every day.
We have an ITC irrigation controller and pumps, which is connected to the internet, and I can view it on the computer, tablet, or my phone. If I want it to change in the middle of the day, like a higher rate in the morning, a lower rate in the middle of the day, a lower rate in the evening, or a different rate based on size of the plant, I can control it all from my phone or computer and adjust what each individual variety needs based on its size.
If that pump were to stop working for some reason, it sends you a text and says, my pump's not working. It's communicating back and forth between myself and my son Nathan and my wife. We all had that information coming in so that if we have a challenge, we know it's in real time that we have a problem today. No, we don't find it tomorrow.
One of the biggest benefits of drip irrigation is the crop stays dry. In the citrus industry, one of our biggest enemies that is quarantinable is citrus canker. Citrus canker requires water to move and survive. So if the crop leaf material stays dry, canker can almost be non-existent because it doesn't have the right conditions to survive.
In addition, we're fertilizing when we irrigate. So by using drip irrigation, we are essentially managing the amount of nutrients that go on the plant. We can also manage the amount of runoff of those nutrients.
They've saved 60% of their water just by switching from overhead irrigation to a drip irrigation. So that's a massive amount of what we're getting back. We're reducing the nutrients and we're reducing the water, which go again with the water conservation and water quality control.
When we converted over to a drip irrigation system and we started doing everything through the tube and we were dripping all the crop and we started fertigating, we said, okay, let's begin to measure what goes in and what comes out.
So water testing is a BMP. So they're required to catch their leachate, and that is whatever's left over after irrigating, and they test it, and then they reuse that back. So everything is a closed circle, nothing's getting wasted, everything is there, they know exactly how much, and they readjusted their management daily to these options.
There's a balance, and by collecting water samples multiple times a week, we find that balance. Because that balance is never the same, because the crop's always growing, weather's always changing. So we have the ability to make adjustments every day or every couple of days as needed.
Originally a wholesale distributor, Brite Leaf unintentionally found itself expanding its client base in 2001. Looking to move a few overstocked trees, Anna inadvertently opened the door to a successful direct-to-customer online sales program.
We had grown some key limes for a grower. We had a few left over. Said, what are we gonna do with these? I put them on eBay and they got snapped up. Well, we'll try this again. Put a few more on eBay, they got snapped up. Then people started saying, hey, how do we buy from you direct? So on any given day, we may be boxing trees to send one tree to 15 homeowners, or we may box trees that are gonna go on a pallet on a truck to a garden center, or we may be loading trees in a trailer to be delivered to the Florida citrus industry.
Today, Brite Leaf sells over 250,000 citrus plants per year to growers, garden centers, and online shoppers around the world.
When you invest into a greenhouse operation, you become very cognizant of high winds. And structures just don't necessarily like to stand up to 100-mile-an-hour winds for 8 or 10 hours at a time. So as a result, we have wind breaks planted all the way around the nursery.
The trees help take the wind pressure off the greenhouses. So for every foot of height in tree height, you get about 10 feet of lift and air during a hurricane. So it's a significant wind load reduction on the greenhouse itself by having the trees planted around the greenhouses.
Being environmental stewards of the land, they are just that. So while you think this is just a Brite Leaf nursery, it's much more.
The resources of the state of Florida are important to maintain for future generations.
We are a environmentally sustainable and friendly farm that hopefully makes people understand that we produce a good product and we're doing everything we can to preserve our environment, preserve our resources.
Whether people like it or not, agriculture is what feeds the world. It is, as far as I'm concerned, the #1 career, the #1 important industry, I guess I should say, to our state and to our world, because if you're hungry, everything else doesn't really matter.